All right, everyone, we're back, and we were trying to figure out, we're on part 6, I think, and so we were in Kenedy, and we were sharing about what the Lord had brought us through there in Kenedy. We started the Christian school. We had, I think, 12 students, 15 students. I never will forget the principal from the public school came up and said, you know what's going on, and you know how to do the school, and you're going to be taking kids out of our school. And and I told them our history and how we'd been in Christian education and trained and all that kind of, okay, I understand. And I have a really deep place in my heart for Christian education, and I had the opportunity to work with other Christian schools, and so it turned out to be a blessing. So we started the Christian school, and just to go back, I wanted to touch base on this baptistry thing. Brother Leroy Poldrack sponsored having that baptistry redone, and I never will forget, we filled that dude up with water and told everybody we're going to be baptizing, and we had a load of people come and get baptized. We baptized, of course, all of our kids except for obviously Robert. And
he wasn't born yet.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The Canales kids were baptized, and the mom, Sister Canales, and Sean's Star was baptized, I think.
Was Ryan?
I think so.
We'd have to get pictures out.
Have to get pictures out. But anyway, I had a number of people baptized, and we got that thing fixed. And finally, it was great because we got to fill up the baptistry and didn't have to worry about flooding the whole back of the church. And so we had Christian school that year, and we, of course, we got done with the year, and
the mobile home comes into play.
Yeah.
So Robert was born Christmas, December the 23rd, 2005. And school reconvened January, and I remember Holly and I ran the school because I don't know exactly
right.
What you
so
were.
What happened was the people moved out of our mobile home and left us holding the bag, and to keep that mobile home down there was $800 a month. Never will forget that. Of course, we weren't making that. Well, that was the total. The insurance payment and lot rent was just to keep that thing down there. Of course, it couldn't stay empty because the mobile home park didn't want that either. And so, of course, the mortgage company was calling me, hey, what's up? And of course, I didn't have the money to pay for it. And they were all the time when I quit and started the Christian school, it was one of those things. We had been given a boat for free, boat and a motor, nice little boat by one of the ladies in the church. And it's just crazy. I had to sell the boat to make a payment and all this kind of stuff.
We had garage sales. I remember we had garage sales.
Yeah.
With the mortgage company that held this mobile home would not allow us to sell the home. We tried to, and they just wouldn't let anyone take it up.
They wouldn't work with anyone we sent them. And finally, we had someone in there that was working with the mortgage company, straight with them, was going to take over the payments. Everything was worked out. It got down to the last thing, had given his down payment, everything to make it happen. And they started nitpicking him on this and that, and he finally got mad and left, just moved out. Which at that point I told the mortgage company, I said, listen, I don't have the money to pay for this thing. You're going to have to take it, and I'll pay for whatever you can get out of it. I'll pay for the rest. So they sold it and got, I owed, I think it was about almost $15,000 left. And the Lord taught me a lesson through that. The lesson was don't get in debt, and it's not debt of a house, because on top of that house was some credit card debt that we had accumulated over the years, and the Lord had taught me a lesson. We prayed about getting a buyer and all this kind of stuff, but I think the Lord wanted to really teach me a lesson because He was preparing us, getting us ready for the mission field, and the importance of taking care of your business, finances, and all that kind of stuff. And so I told the mortgage company we'll pay you $100 a month, and so we're going to go back to that story later on. So we were paying $100 a month because that's all we could afford.
Yeah, you went. Who did you go to work for?
I actually went to work in Corpus Christi while we were trying to sell the house. I was working for Protec Mechanical, and I was as a controls technician and putting in Johnson Controls at that time, and it was a good job, great job. And they took care of me, Dan Whiteside, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Mike was his first name. But anyway, love those guys. Still in contact with some of them today. But I had quit to start the Christian school. I had to go back to work and things like this. And finally we just, said we lost the mobile home, so we just started just paying what we could on it. That's all there was to it. Wasn't really making enough there at the church to make it on that, and so it was a difficult financially time for us. But along about that time, the Lord spoke to my heart one night as I was laying in bed, and He said, "Ronnie," He said, I want you to get out of debt. I want you to finish your degree, and I want you to get on the mission field, like I told you." So we'd already been to Kenedy.
You'd had a dream too,
yeah,
didn't you?
I'd had a couple of dreams. One about a church that I was going to eventually pastor. We'll get to it, but about going to the mission field. And so I just really started putting that as a forefront, but it was probably a year and a half to 2 years before we actually left Kenedy. But I started inquiring about finishing my degree at Ozark Bible Institute. And so one day we decided we're leaving Kenedy. We're going to go back to Neosho, Missouri. We're going to finish my degree. And the Lord just started putting things in place. Mm-hmm. I mean, just boom, one right after another.
Provided financially. We paid a lot of debt off. Where all we had pretty much was a car payment and that house payment that we on the mobile home.
And so we packed up all our junk. It was quite amazing.
Excuse me.
It was a lot of stuff.
We had a garage sale. We got rid of a lot of junk.
Yeah, we did. Oh, we could have never got all that stuff in there. And then we should have sold about half of them.
You're moving a family of 5.
Yeah, five kids, total of 7. Yeah. And
you're skilled, and so you moved all your tools.
Yeah. So we threw everything in the largest Penske moving vehicle you could get, and we pulled our blue trailer.
We also had the school.
We had the school.
Because we were still doing the umbrella where even while we had the Christian school, we still provided curriculum and kept the records for other students in other states.
We helped the students go to homeschool mode, and so they started homeschooling.
We donated a lot of our school desks to Ray and Cindy Pettis for their school there in Corpus Christi. And
we sold some of it too. So
that's part of the stuff we moved. So we had the Penske truck. So when we left, we had the Penske truck. It was pulling what?
It was pulling the tool bed truck. We took a back of a truck, bed portion, cut the cab off, and made the back of it a trailer and tool bed. That was full of stuff. And that had the smoker on it.
And the
go-kart. And the junk underneath it. And then
bicycles.
Leroy Poldrack gave me I had worked for a truck for him, and it was a Ford F-250. And
he drove?
Yeah, he drove that, pulling the blue trailer. And then we had the gray van.
Yeah.
Had the gray van, the Dodge minivan that we drove the wheels completely off of. We had that. We started to Neosho. My brother-in-law, Steve French, we had talked to him, and he had a rent house available, little rent trailer. This thing was tiny trailer, and it was great. And we moved up there. They greeted us when we got there. My brother-in-law Steve French and Nikki French and their family, and we had a wonderful time.
They have 5 kids. They They had 5 kids by then. Yeah.
Yeah. So we lived in that mobile home
In Neosho.
In Neosho.
That was October.
About 6 months. About 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And I enrolled in Ozark Bible Institute and started my last year of education. One of the other things that the Lord spoke to me, I forgot to mention, was that I needed to be ordained. And so I had, inquired in South Texas, and then when I knew we were moving back to Southern Missouri, I called the Southern Missouri District and told them what my plan was to finish my degree at Ozark Bible Institute, and then I want to be ordained. They said, no problem, that'll work just fine. And so we moved up there. I got enrolled, started taking classes, and then we found out a church was open.
Gary, didn't our brother-in-law Gary let you know about that?
Yeah, that's right, because he was friends with Brother Beasy.
Beasy, yeah.
Yeah, they're to Second Assembly in Joplin. And so we inquired about that and went up there and preached for
There
them.
at Stony Point Church at Jericho Springs, Missouri. That was about
2007.
miles or time.
It was 65 miles.
65 miles.
So we're going to stop there and we'll go to the next phase of our ministry. God bless y'all.